Hello team, welcome back. And today we will discuss about the waits and timeout in Selenium 4. So we already discussed about the different waits we can apply, and we have seen few example of the Selenium 3. So if you are using the Selenium 4, it may possible you are getting the methods are deprecated. The methods which we are using in the previous lectures like the explicit wait, implicit wait or the page load timeout, they are deprecated. So we will see what is the change in the waits in Selenium 4. So in Selenium 4, the Selenium 3 waits methods are deprecated. But it doesn't mean that your code won't work or you need to change your code a lot. We will see what are the changes in the waits in Selenium 4. So in Selenium 4, the parameters received in waits and timeout has been changed. So only the parameters, what are the parameters you are accepting in the waits and timeouts, that is being changed. Earlier in the Selenium 3, the format was you was providing the long time and the time unit. But in the Selenium 4, the expectation is you are going to provide the duration. So the change will look like this. If we will talk about the implicit wait in Selenium 4, then before the Selenium 4, if you want to apply the implicit wait, you need to use the syntax like this: driver manage timeouts implicit wait, define the wait time. Over here we are defining 10 seconds and define the time unit, right? But if you are using the Selenium 4, then the syntax is changed a bit and the method hierarchy is same. Over here again we are using the driver manage timeouts implicit wait, but the parameter or the argument which you are passing to your implicit wait, that is changed. Earlier you was providing the long time and the time unit. Over here you are providing the duration, and after the duration you need to provide the duration parameter, that you need to wait for seconds, days, longs, hours, and the time frame of that duration. So this is the only change between the Selenium 3 and the Selenium 4, right? Similarly, if we will talk about the other weights like the explicit weight, then in the explicit wait as well, earlier syntax was like WebDriver wait. Then you need to create the object of the WebDriver wait, and which was accepting the driver and the time unit. In the Selenium 4, it will accept the driver and the time unit, but time unit again will be accepted in the duration, right? So we need to call duration dot of seconds, of days, of hours, and need to define the duration. Let's understand this with a simple example. So we will go to the Eclipse, and in the Eclipse we have worked with the explicit wait, implicit wait, and the page load timeout. What I did, I refreshed the reference libraries, and right now it is basically hooked with the Selenium 4. If I will scroll the reference libraries, you can see we are using the Selenium 4.2.2 jars. We are not using the Selenium 3. So once I hook the Selenium 4 jar in my project, what happens? Very first, let's go to the implicit wait. So as long as I put the Selenium 4, you can see it is saying that the implicit wait, this method is basically deprecated. It is asking either to pass the surpass warning like this. So we will add the surpass warning. Still, it is basically showing cross. It means this method is deprecated in the Selenium 4. Let me remove the surpass warning. And very first, let me check if I will update the Selenium 3 to Selenium 4. Will this stop working or is there any kind of other implication? So what I will do, I will execute this, run as TestNG test. So this will open the Google Chrome and it will search for the Selenium WebDriver. Click on the fourth element and close the browser. Let's see. So see, it has searched for the Selenium fourth element and close the browser. It means functionality is working fine. There is no impact on the functionality. Same thing we are getting within the result, that test failure is 0. But what is the change we are getting? The change is we are getting this method as deprecated, right? So let's define this method as per the Selenium 4. So we will call driver dot manage dot timeout dot implicit wait. So you can see you are getting both implicit wait, right? This is the implicit wait which is getting the duration, and this is the implicit wait which we are using over here. So what we need to do, we need to go with the implicit wait which have the duration. Over here, let's call the duration. Then what are the duration we can provide? We can provide duration 0. We can provide between, from, of days, of hours, of milliseconds, of minutes, of nanosecond, of seconds. So there is a lot of options we can apply. Let's put the duration of seconds, and what do I want? I want to wait for the 30 seconds. So let's define like this. So you can see we are calling the same method, right, but different parameter. Over here in the Selenium 4, this method is not deprecated, but if you are using the time and the time unit, then this method is deprecated. I will comment out this, right, save this and execute this. So this will again open the Google Chrome, open the Google, type for the search item, search for the, select for the fourth one and close the browser. You can see the flow is executed and we will get the test result, one test executed and one success. So ideally this kind of changes are not impacting the functionality in case of the implicit wait, but what is changed, the way of defining or using the method got changed. Earlier we was using the implicit wait with a timeout like this, and right now in Selenium 4 we need to use the implicit wait like this. So over here I will call Selenium 3 and this is Selenium 4, right? So if you are using the Selenium 3, you need to use the weight like this. If you are using the Selenium 4, you need to use the weight like this, because many companies are still using the Selenium 3, so we are providing the support for the Selenium 3 as well. Let's save this. Now let's go to the another class. So another, we have the page load timeout class. Let me minimize this. In the page load timeout class, what we are doing, we are basically opening the edition cnn.com, and over here we are waiting for the page load, right? So the concept of the page load timeout is going to same whatever we have learned in the previous lecture, in the Selenium 3 lecture. But what is the change? You can see over here the page load timeout is again showing deprecated. So let's see if this is working or not. So what I will do, I will execute this file. This will open the CNN, right? And it will wait for until the CNN page will be completely download. So you can see CNN is downloading, and right now we have the 5-second timeout. So it is not closing the browser. If I will go to the code, we can see we are getting error, and error is that timeout received from the sender 4.5 second. Let's do one thing. Let's increase this timeout to 20 seconds. So I will comment out this and uncomment this code, right? The code is same, just timeout is 20 second instead of the 5 second. Clear out the console and again execute this code. This will again open the Chrome and open the CNN. You can see it is opening the CNN and page is loading. We'll wait until test case will execute. Page is still loading. You can see the browser got closed. If we will go to the Eclipse, we are still waiting for the test result and test got successful. So ideally the method is deprecated, but it is working. If you want to change it as per the Selenium 4, what I need to do, you need to define driver dot manage dot timeout dot page load timeout, define the duration, and over here you need to define the of minute. Suppose we are defining, instead of the second we are defining minute, and we will define 2 minutes like this, right? So over here you can see we are not getting the deprecated warning, right? We are not showing the method is deprecated. What we did, we just changed the parameter. Let's save this and execute this. So this will again open the Chrome, open the CNN and execute the test case. You can see the CNN is opened and it will wait for the page to load. Once page will load, it will close the browser and we will get the output in the Eclipse. See, the browser got closed. We will go to the Eclipse and test got executed. So ideally there is no change in the functionality. This page load timeout is working like same, but the only thing is if you are defining the property like this, then we are getting the deprecation warning. But if we are defining the property like this, then we are not getting the deprecation warning. So we will define the Selenium 4. In Selenium 4 you need to use like this, and if you are using the Selenium 3, then you need to use like this. So that's about the page load timeout, the implicit wait. What is the third wait? Third wait is the explicit wait. If we will go to the explicit wait, then you can see within this particular class we was using some common HTML, was using some HTML file which is present on my machine, on my box. I'm not going any external website. And over here we have a lot of test case. We have a few test case: verify alert, verify element clickable, verify element is selected, verify present text, and verify element visibility. Over here you can see at all particular places where I'm defining the explicit wait, I'm getting the error. The error is not related to the deprecation. No. Over here it is showing the compilation error. So whenever we are defining the object of the WebDriver wait, we need to change the syntax if you are using the Selenium 4. Very first, let me show you what is this HTML file. Right, I will copy this, and what are the test case once test will execute. So we'll go to the browser. In the browser, I will paste this path, the path which I'm supplying within my test case, and it will open the HTML file. So this HTML file is present on my local machine. Right. This is a simple HTML file, and these are the 5 test cases which will execute on this particular HTML. First test case is once you will click this, an alert will open after the 5 seconds. So let's click this. You can see the counter is started. Now it will open an alert. Right. So we will handle this kind of alert using the explicit wait. Second, if you will click this, then after the 9 second or after the 10 second, it will change this particular text and change this text to the Selenium WebDriver. Let's wait. See, this got changed. This kind of thing we can handle using the explicit wait. The button will be displayed in 10 seconds. If I will click this, so it is it is expected that a new button will be displayed. Over here we are explicitly waiting for the element. So that is the case of explicit wait. Again, if I will click this button will enable after the 10 seconds. Right, let's wait. And you can see the button got enabled. Similarly, if I will click this checkbox will be checked after the 10 seconds. So these are the cases where you have the dependency between the elements. You can use the explicit wait. Right, we are pretty much clear about it. Now what will happen? Let me close this. If I don't change anything and I will go with my existing methods, right, existing implementation, if I will execute this will open the browser 5 times, execute all 5 test cases in a new browser, and close the browser 5 times. Let's see it is able to execute the test case or not. So you can see browser is opening and closing. This is the third time, fourth time, and fifth time. So it has opened the browser and closed the browser regularly. Is it able to execute the test case? See, no. We have total 5 run and 5 failure. It means we are not able to execute the test case. And what is the error we are getting? Error is Java lang error unresolved compilation problem. So till page load timeout, but till page load timeout and the implicit wait, that is fine. But if you are using the explicit wait, then you will get the compilation error with the Selenium 4. And how we can resolve the compilation error? Let's copy this line. I will paste it, right? Comment the earlier one. And instead of the driver 30, what I will do, I will call driver, comma, duration of seconds dot of seconds or of minute as per your use. I'm taking off second and define 30 like here. That's it. So you can see I'm not doing much change. I'm just changing the way of passing the parameter. Earlier we was passing the 30 directly as a time unit. Now I'm passing duration dot of second as a 30. So this was earlier waiting for 30 seconds, and this will again wait for the 30 seconds. Only the syntax got changed and the error is gone. In the lower cases, we are still getting the error. So now if I will save this and execute it, then it means verify alert test will execute successfully and rest of the test case will fail. Let's try. So I will execute this file. Let's see what it will execute. So it will open the Chrome, go to the web page, and see this time it is executing the test case and we are getting the counter. It is verifying for the alert verification is done. Now it is executing the other 4 test cases, and in the other 4 test cases we are still getting the errors, right? If we will go to the Eclipse, see, once you will get the report, total 4 failure and 1 pass. Which test executed pass? So the test verify alert executed pass, because over here we changed the syntax, right? So this is the way of Selenium 3 and this is the way of Selenium 4. I will comment it like Selenium 4, right? If you want to execute all, we need to define the similar kind of pattern at all the places. So let's copy this, comment out the earlier method, define the new way, comment out the earlier method, define the new way, comment out this, define a new way, and comment out this, define a new way. So at all the test cases, we are defining a new object of the WebDriver wait. Let's save this. You can see error is also gone from my Java class. The compilation error is completely gone. I'm executing the test case. Now it will execute all 5 test cases. Right. So team, this is the change whatever we have in the timeout and the wait in Selenium 3 and the Selenium 4. Test 1 is executing, alert case handled. Now it will execute the test case 2. You can see the counter will execute on the test case 2. So display button test is executing. It will close. Now it will execute the test case 3, and it is executing the last test case, which is checkbox test case. Counter is there. Once checkbox will be checked, it will close. Now test case 4 is executing, and it is executing the display button after 10 seconds. Right now it will execute, and now it will execute the last test case, which is change text to Selenium WebDriver. You can see the counter is running on it. So by changing this object, by changing this parameter, it will execute all 5 test cases because compilation error is gone. If you will go to the Eclipse, you can see all 5 executed successfully, right? So, and what we did, we just changed this particular parameter. Earlier it was accepting the timeout directly, now we are passing it from the duration. So this is the only change in the weights in Selenium 3 and the Selenium 4. Right. So if you are using the Selenium 3, you upgrade to Selenium 4 and you are getting the WebDriver wait and page load timeout implicit wait got deprecated, don't worry about it. This is not like the method got removed. Method are theirs. The only change is you need to pass the different parameter as a timeout to these particular methods. Right. So team, this is the only change we have between the Selenium 3 and Selenium 4 for the weights. Right. If you have any question, any doubt, you can ask me. Thank you team. See you next time.